Hello to all the amazing people, TheNeomare here, and welcome to another episode of Limbus Company, an amazing turn-based, I want to call it tactical strategy game from Project Moon. I have loads of videos on it, you can find it, the playlist in the comment description below the video. It's basically a game where you equip your team of sinners with like egos and identities, and yeah, do turn-based combat with. And the best of all, it's free to play. There's some gacha elements, but the game's very generous, so you can get a lot of stuff that you need without having to pay for it, if that's what you prefer. Anyhow, today we're gonna go into the Murder on the Warp Express event. It's been here already for like almost 10 days. I didn't touch it yet. I've been busy doing some other stuff, but yeah, let's go in and enjoy some nice story, hopefully. Dum, dum, dum. Murder on the Warp Express. Now, the first thing I'm curious about is, does it even matter if anyone gets murdered on the Warp Express due to its nature? I don't know, we'll find out. What's this? Event currency guide. During the event, you can earn civilian recovery pack by clearing event stages. You can also obtain civil recovery pack by clearing main story stages for the first time, or by clearing the mirror dungeon. Rarely you may obtain the fixer recovery pack from clearing event stages, main story stages, or mirror dungeons, and fixer recovery pack is automatically converted to 20 civilian recovery pack upon acquisition. In the rewards exchange window, you can purchase various rewards by spending it that you collect. Here's the rewards exchange. Pretty much standard thing. We got some nice banners, which are the most expensive. There's a fixer we can grab, the identity. The music sounds very, how should I say it, tense. View the first event story stage to unlock, event bonus units. So there's some bonus units. Multi-crack office fixer Heathcliff, this one. So if you have these, you're gonna gain more resources. So my plan here is to start the story a little bit, just to show it off for you, and then do some mirror dungeons offline of the YouTube to get these going, and then go back into the story after that. So that's the plan, and let's jump into it. The first class, 6-5, that's the chapter we are on right now. 16. Wait, what? Why is it 16? Is this just like a continuation? Wait, what? That's a bit weird, but that's fine. That's fine. First class, let's go. What happened? Who got killed? Why? I don't know. Alright, how did this happen? First, we boarded the warp train to get to our next destination, the P-Corp. Got into our fancy first class flash freeze hibernation capsules, and we were supposed to arrive at P-Corp after a quick blink of an eye, but... Dante, please respond, there's... The first thing I saw when my vision returned was the perplexed look on Faust, who had entered hibernation at the same time as I did. Then I realized that we woke up mid-transit on the warp train, which could only mean that we are now stranded in some lost, unknown dimension. Dante, I understand your considerable degree of disorientation, but... What the hell happened? First things first. Let's rewind and return to the very start of this highly unfavorable situation we found ourselves in. A few days ago. Our next destination is to... a warp train, Dante. What? Yep, that's where it all started. There I was, still perplexed by the incidents at T-Corp, with my awful idea of clearing the air by asking Virgilius for our next destination, not knowing the storm that my innocent question would bring. But verily, I must have misheard. I'm quite certain you didn't, Quixote. We are now en route to the T-Corp warp train station. That warp train station must have some conundrum that must be resolved there indeed. A quest that must be swiftly addressed at the station, yes? Oh, she definitely doesn't want to board it, alright. Did a distortion pop up at one of the warp platforms or something? I see that you're now significantly less disinclined to take on some side jobs, but no. We are boarding the warp train to get to the P-Corp. End of story. There's nothing between the lines, so don't try reading into it. It was only natural that the sinners immediately fell into a state of collective dumbfounded shock. None of the sinners have any history of working at V-Corp, but we're actually taking that train. Through what vague information we could gather from the identities, we all had some fragmentary knowledge about the terrible secrets of the warp train's operations. I initially considered hiding this information from the rest of the sinners, but since sharing things with everyone and letting them get in their 2 cents in usually ended up being pretty helpful, I've been sharing more of this as of late. Though I have very dim, if present at all, recollections from the time during which I varied identities, it can be determined from the conversational records between the manager and the identities that the mechanisms behind Warp Train's operations can be deemed as somewhat bizarre and inefficient. Oh, yeah, it's that 10-second trip that actually takes a long time, right? And when the train reaches the destination, they just wipe the passengers' memories? I also heard that the passengers get so tired and weary that they start literally ripping and tearing into one another. Sounds like I might finally have a chance to see a masterpiece with my own eyes. Even when the sinners wear the identities through my identity cards, the identities, memories or beliefs don't bleed into them once it's over and done with. I remember when Faust explained that due to the risks associated with embracing such influences, there was a filtering process to intentionally block them from reaching the sinners. That's why the sinners could use the identities of some of our worst enemies without getting infected by their philosophies and whatnot. But it also meant that they couldn't retain any new information that each identity had to offer. That's why I keep a record of some things that sound particularly important and sometimes share it with the rest of the sinners. My voice doesn't really carry well past the window, so most of our communications are one-sided, but I had an abundance of V-Corp identities, so it wasn't difficult to piece together the truth behind the trains. Well, I sure did. We used V-Corp identities a lot. But, maybe ignorance really is bliss. Your alarmed response and possibly incompliance have already been accounted for. Lady Faust, and hast thou known this all along? Wherefore hast thou not designed to tell me of this? Faust has indeed known this all along, as no knowledge is out of Faust's reach. As expected, a solution to your dilemma has already been prepared. I seriously doubt your solution involves not getting on the train, so what is it? The bus? Oh, what about the bus? There's no way this thing fits inside a train car. Charon vetoes too. No one to feed Memphi when Charon's gone. Miss Faust, the rearmost tail of warp trains are all freight cars. That's where Memphis the fellas will be safely fastened and transported. And the LCB will have the benefit of boarding as first-class passengers. Oh, we're going as first class. Okay. The bus begins to swell with noise again, though, in slightly different air to the alarmed response from earlier. First-class passengers? What, the seats for those pompous toffs? Even on normal trains, you've got those sods whose proudest accomplishment in life is planting their arses in the first-class seats, while others are cramming themselves into freight cars because they haven't the cash for even an economy ticket. Hey, don't look at me. I've never been in one of those first-class seats before either. Isn't the ticket for a single first-class seat like as expensive as 3-4 months' salary of a first-year wing employee? Can our budget really handle getting a ticket for all of us? The company's budget is not a subject that warrants your concern. I heard first-class passengers get some cool bonus stuff like personalized private capsules or something, don't they? That is the promotional language, yes. They are flash-freeze hibernation capsules, to be precise. They have been designed to easily withstand the true amount of time it takes for the warp train to travel from point A to B. The trip will be over in the blink of an eye for the passengers. The company's regard for our well-being is unfamiliar yet welcome. To be provided such extravagance merely for our comfort, such occurrence is quite seldom. Right, I honestly thought they were going to slip just the guide and Sharon into the first-class seats and ship the rest of us in the economy cars. This seems like an unnecessary luxury. They should have saved their budget and given only the executive manager and their lawyer advisor access to those seats. Are you my lawyer advisor? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We are taking the train to get to our next mission, right? We have to think about the unique nature of warp trains and prepare ourselves accordingly. Right, I know it's first class and all, but warp trains are just plain creepy. I know you'd also be worried about. For example, economy passengers are going to have a hard time getting into a first class car. If they can even attempt to open it, I mean. I'm pretty sure the door separating the cars is ironclad. Ishmael, who's been holding that first-class promotional pamphlet in her hands for a while, was chattering on with fire in her eyes. We won't even have to lift a finger. We just have to board the train, get into our capsules, shut our eyes, and snooze through the entire ride until all the mess in the other cars blows over. I heard they used to give out commemorative merch back when their finances weren't in the gutter and... Oh, A true adventure is not without its hardships, yet even the most exalted of heroes cannot venture without respite. And in very rare occasions, the hero may even deign to select a first-class seat to rest in place of a quiet inn. Indeed, indeed. Seems like everyone was at least somewhat interested in the fabled first-class seats of warp trains. I could sense that there was a growing consensus among the sinners that even a warp train trip might be acceptable if it meant that they could ride in the first-class seats. I will board the train if I must. It's first-class seating mandatory? I prefer the scenic route. Don't wait to miss out on all of the fun. But Julius pretended to not hear Ryoshi's question. Very well, then I assume that we're all in agreement. Let's go. I have a matter of great importance. What is it? Out with it, lass, beating around the bush and like you. Don Quixote carefully began, almost whispering in a low voice. That's in the first-class seats. I have heard that we must board with our feet freed from our boots. Don't that claim hold water? Oh, come on now. What kind of nonsense gossip is this from this time? This no gossip, forsooth. I have overheard all from those we have walked past here today, and when one of them inquired, you know that you gotta go barefoot in first class, right? The other responded with, of course, man, what am I, stupid? Don't the traveler speak true, Ishmael? Don't ask me, I've never been on one of these either. I don't remember seeing anything like that on the pamphlet. Give me a second. I mustn't be separated from the Rocinante, not even for a twinkle. I shan't toss Rocinante to the side next to such vulgarities like the ugly shoes of Sir Heathcliff. Oh, yeah, she calls high regard for her shoes, I guess. So Don Quixote is from, it's inspired by Don Quixote by Cervantes, and in that story, Don Quixote was riding a horse called Rocinante. But here there's no horse, but instead her shoes are Rocinante. So, yeah, she doesn't want to part with them. Oi, you little... I implore thee, O illustrious red gaze, please grant me thy permission and allow me to board with Rocinante. I expected Virgilius to answer with his usual exasperated rebuff. Contrary to my expectations, however, he responded in a somewhat serious tone, if tainted by that familiar annoyance. Fine, keep your shoes on. Alright. So yeah, the warp trains. So you can find a link to my playthrough of Library of Ruina in the description. It's a game where you go through the warp train and see a lot of its craziness there. Basically, the warp train is designed for really fast travel from point A to point B. So people feel like 12 seconds have passed and they traveled large distances. However, the technology is pretty weird. In actuality, it goes into a different dimension, spends a lot of time there, then comes back. In our dimension, truly, only a little bit of time passes. But actually, the train travels for a very long time. And people inside the train go crazy during that time, kill each other, turn into various monstrosities and all that good stuff. Once the train arrives at the destination, everyone, well, all of these crazy people and monstrosities are killed by the warp train cleanup crew. Then the DNA samples are gathered. And then these people are cloned again from scratch. Something like that, yeah? But basically the effect is that the person entering the train is like the clone of that person exits the train and they have no memory of what went on in the train. It's quite gruesome, actually. But this is the regular train part, right? We're going in the first class compartment. We will endure all this time and we will not have to be cloned because we're gonna be in hibernation chambers apparently. Okay, let's go. But something went wrong, obviously, because Foss here has a concerned look on her face. This place is huge. That was my first impression of the warp train station. Oh, so this is... Don Quixote shouted vibrantly, immediately recovered from her previous apprehension of the sheer possibility that she might be separated from the Rocinante. So each nest has one of these massive structures in them. I've got nothing. Oi, you know anything about what they're saying? Heathcliff asked, gesturing towards Percival with his chin. Every warp train station has been built with a general design philosophy that draws from their respective nest architectural idiosyncrasies. It can also be said that many critics in relevant fields praise the warp train stations as one of the many cultural cornerstones of the city. I have no idea when it happened, but Heathcliff started treating Mersault like a walking encyclopedia from time to time. Mersault, young Mersault! Lo! Is that passenger over yonder one from the mast? Incorrect. Leather-based clothing and metal armor are predominant fashion trends often visible in the outfits of the Western population. While that individual's cloth-based style is something ubiquitously observed throughout the population of North and South, they are largely considered to be an Eastern fashion trend, rarely seen among Western. Princess, slow thyself, for I must make a record of thy lectures. What wisdom dost thou have to impart regarding the fashion of the northern region? I have once espied in a magazine that they are garbed in puffy, loose-fitting outfits, understandably so given the colder climate of the region. An opportunity for a first-hand observation stands before you. Oh! 3 seconds of screaming duet, one of utter fascination, the other of unmitigated frustration. What the shit, you nearly blew out my eardrums. Fixer from the north, alright? You're the one to talk. Dude, I've got an audible frequency range expansion implant in my eardrums. Holy shit, man. Now get the hell out of my way. You're blocking the walkway like a ragtag band of hicks who's never even seen a warp train before. Damn it, I take the train all the way here for an expedition, only to lose my target, and now these assholes are trying to blow out my eardrums. Great, just great. I love this. Guys, is that obvious that we've never been on a warp train before? And the round-trip ticket fee came straight out of my damn pocket. Oh, watch out, big fella. Someone might get seriously hurt if you keep swinging those forearms around, each holding a weapon to boot. Be bright, will thou stand still for the moment to satisfy a few inquiries of mine regarding thy outfit? Oh yes, yes, stand in absolute stillness for 5 minutes and... Oh yeah, she speaks in a very loud very loud voice, I guess. And he has an amplification to hear better, so yeah, not a really good combination now, is it? Seriously? The fixer with a particularly impressive set of prosthetics arms spends a few minutes venting several of his numerous grievances at us before storming off to a different platform. Ah, indeed, this grand the city of sundry odd personalities. I'm pretty sure he was thinking the same thing. I guess there really are a lot of people in the city with full body prosthetics. That's when Virgilius slowly walked up to our group. Well then, we'll rendezvous at the destination. Will the illustrious red gaze not ride along us? V-Corps policy demands that fixers bestowed with a collar title must board a train specially prepared for them instead. Oh, are you like riding the first class plus or something? That's a collar fixer for you, I guess. Special treatment from the wings no matter where he goes. Sharon wants to go back to Memphis. Memphis be lonely. I've told you before, Sharon, 3 separate times actually, each time I bought you one of those candies, that people aren't allowed aboard the freight cars. Then Miss Faust. Yes, Virgilius, after exchanging a knowing look and a nod with Faust, escorted the particular peeved Sharon away. Dante, let us proceed this way. We followed Faust's guidance to the entrance of our train car. Damn. Whoa, hey, our cars are starting to come back. Oh. Hey, this must be the fabled complimentary food and drink for the first class seats. Heck yeah, of course. Quality stuff like this got to be included with that insane pricing. The general response to this room was a surprise at the rows upon rows of expensive-looking sizable capsules. Flash freeze hibernation, huh? I guess it literally freezes our bodies in a flash. Faust, are these flash freeze hibernation devices safe? Please elaborate on your exact definition of safe. These things are supposed to freeze us solid, right? Can we really come back from something like that? A flash freeze hibernation device will put you in a temporary state of death, caused by a rapid stellar cryopreservation process. However, the rapidity of the process prevents damage to your cells during the phase change. Therefore, in most cases, this will not cause any issues. Faust is aware that this model has fully resolved cell membrane breaching issues caused by cryogenic density change or by ice crystals growth of hydrogen molecules. Yeah, this is basically the main problem with cryohibernation that we are not able to solve yet. I missed about half of what you said, but your point is that's safe, right? Yes, as far as Faust is aware, even if an issue were to arise during the journey, because everyone will be reverted to their states at the beginning of the train trip upon arrival, there won't be any lasting complications from the sad problem. So if something goes wrong, we're gonna do the same procedure everyone else goes through, we get cloned. You've got some real talent in dragging out something so simple as, yeah, it's safe. So many words, seriously. You weren't listening, it's not really safe. Indeed, as Faust talents are not limited to a singular field. Okay, but there still is a lot to be worried about. Just as I was wondering, however, I realized that there was something odd about the way she phrased that answer. Yep. As far as Faust is aware, are you saying that it could be wrong? As a general rule, Faust does not err. However, Faust is also not a divine being. There are certain information in the world that Faust is not yet to have access to. Therefore, while Faust may speak the facts, what is said may not always align with the truth. Okay. They don't call first class for nothing, I guess. P-Corp's way up there in the northernmost corner of the city. But this thing will take us there in a blink of an eye, huh? That's one hell of a time saver. Ho 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 ho! Prepared, I say, for Sinanti, thus begins the long jaunt. Oh, I've been meaning to ask, Don Quixote. Do you even know, wash those shoes? Where's that come from, Roger? No, I mean, like, think back to when we were inside that whale. When that whale blew up, we got all kinds of gross slimy bits on us. They were on our clothes, our shoes, everything. Yeah, and do you remember how much we had to scrub to get that bloody fishy fleshy gunk out of our clothes? This really isn't something I want to revisit, but yeah. Right, and do you also remember how Don Quixote never took her shoes off once during that whole ordeal? Okay, I guess they do look a bit filthy. I ask thee, dear compatriots, hast thou ever witnessed an errant knight who leaves the sight of their beloved steed? Can't say I've ever witnessed a knight before, though. Then thou shalt know, starting now, behold it, hearken to it, and remember it well. They don't spare us even a moment of quiet, do they? Oh, have you ever been on one of those autos? I have been treated to premium VIP seats of similar grandiosity back then. This is nothing to fuss over. Otis, who was sitting there and shaking her legs, suddenly asked Faust a question. Hey, you've contended that no accident ever occurred on one of these first-class cars, yes? In order to prevent cases of unnecessary anxiety and misgivings among the sinners, the history of accidents that has occurred aboard warp trains will not be shared. Nice. Wait, what? Beep! Oh, I think we're leaving soon. This is warp train PV612 bound for P-Corp. Boarding period is ending soon. The sinners, who were either leisurely enjoying their complimentary snacks or taking a look around the first-class car, suddenly became a lot busier. Then, let us hurry and enter a capsule before it's too late. Oh, why is this? The other sinners made it into their capsules, no problem, but I felt like I was the only one who's fumbling. Is it anxiety, Dante? I think so. Initiating warp in 10 minutes. Allow me to assist you. Stand as though you're leaning back and... Faust expertly guided me into the capsule as though she'd done something like this before. Then pressed the button inside the capsule that closed the hatch. Don't worry too much. We will meet again in but a moment, Dante. I thought I heard a brief sigh, but the hatch shut tightly before I could ask her anything. Initiating warp. Please confirm that your seatbelts are firmly... Wait, what seatbelts? The last thing I saw before my capsule began to fill with gas was Faust climbing into her own capsule opposite of mine. I had no idea then what she really meant by we will meet again in but a moment. Dante, you must wake up, Dante! But one thing I knew for sure was an inconceivable situation has occurred. That something had seriously gone wrong. Oh, what an introduction to the story. But yeah, these chapters usually start with a lot of heavy story, and then after that we get some combat. There's yet another story here. Disappearing passengers. Well, that doesn't sound good. You're here already? Whoa, I guess that wasn't an exaggeration at all. It all really happened in the blink of an eye. As always, Faust was giving me her usual look, which was a complete lack of any emotive expression. Which I suppose is why I didn't immediately register that something had gone awry. No, we're not yet at our destination. Huh? When I finally came to and after I had some time to digest the odd reply, I looked up at her face once again, and realized that her expression was more antsy than usual by a microscopically minuscule degree. So, this train is still running? Yes. Then, where are we? I believe we are currently stranded in an unidentified dimension. Coordinates unknown. I took a reflexive deep breath from the sheer horror of the numerous implications stuffed into that dryly delivered sentence. When that passed, the first thing that struck my mind was that we were about to suffer the very thing that we were so worried about. I see. But I soon found myself calming down. Yeah, this had to be a part of Foss's plan. She probably saw this coming from a mile away. I'm sure she's about to proudly tell me every little detail of her plan that will help us out of this situation. But this is all just a part of the plan, right, Foss? Yeah, I don't think it is. That was an unusual long silence from Faust. You are half correct, yet half incorrect. With that, Faust led me to flounder in the chaotic stream of vaguely terrifying information as she began stopping by each capsule to wake the sinners. Oh, we're here already? Man, it really happened in the blink of an... No. Oh, what is this? We're here already for real? It really happened in the blink of an... No. Oh, we're here already? I guess I really was worrying over nothing. No. No. Yet I have not uttered a single word. There was a brief cheer, a little hurrah about regaining our colors, followed by a flat-toned explanation of our current predicament, which was then followed by a long, loaded silence, which was a sequence of events I had the pleasure of watching play out on about 10 consecutive occasions. Dante, I understand your confusion, however, perhaps an elaboration of our present circumstances is necessary. And that brings us to the present. Let me get this straight. This train's still running, and we are drifting through some unknown dimension. Oh, out about that struck at me as quite dramatic. Most importantly, are you saying that you already knew that this would happen, Faust? Yes. Ha! What the hell is wrong with you, huh? The sinners each began to voice their anger. Of course, this wasn't the first time Faust and Virgilius intentionally and knowingly omitted certain details about events in our path. What, are you insane? It's not like we can just retreat or jump out that door when stuff hits the fan. Opening the door will result in nearly immediate destruction of the physical body. But hey, at least you know what to do, like you always do. You've got a plan, right? Right? Faust, whom I had rarely ever seen at a loss for words, was unusually slow to respond. What's up with her? Lass looks totally out of it today. She gives me a sideways glance. There must be something she can't discuss in front of the sinners. Guys, let's pause for a bit. She said that something inconceivable happened. The other sinner's anger was completely understandable. It also makes sense that his continued lack of communication was harming our trust in Faust. Alright, we're going to go over the situation from the start, okay? But just letting things play out might really turn everyone against Faust, and for good. Besides, I doubt Faust woke up in the middle of the trip just to spite us. First things first, I got to get the sinners to calm down, then ask Faust to tell us what happened. If there's a problem, we'll figure it out and deal with it as we move along. Tell us what's going on, Faust, all of it, and in a way that we can all understand. Let's hear her out first. Is that okay with you guys? If you say so, I'll go along with it. Fine, I suppose losing my rag rarely ever did anything. Thank you. Then, after some time, the gist of Faust's explanation was as follows. The cause of this issue, as always, involved a certain contract and an unliteral decision from the higher-ups of Limbus Company. V Corp caught wind of Limbus Company's recent distortion contract management promotions and decided to contract us to deal with a mysterious repeated series of incidents suspected to have been caused by a distortion, after multiple failed attempts to resolve it on their own, of course. The distortions themselves likely did not pose a problem for V Corp. Based on the available information, it can be determined that they would have been all neutralized as soon as the train arrived, and any transformed passengers would have been reverted to their human forms. But the real issue was that the passengers were disappearing. Passengers spirited away? Alas, such is an impossibility aboard these trains, is it not? That is the question for which we must discover the precise cause and effect of. Did V Corp share anything to get us started? That appears to be the most prominent cause of that misunderstanding. She explained that V Corp refused to share anything about the trains because they were concerned about maintaining the secrets of their singularity. Maybe that's exactly why they sought out an upstart business like Limbus Company to deal with this, now that I think about it. We wouldn't even know where to start if we didn't have access to the information that the identity cards had to offer. Faust produced what appeared to be a key card with V-Corp logo on it before continuing with her explanations. However, we were given this master key card that can open and close the hibernation capsules at will. We may return to our respective capsules as soon as the contract is fulfilled and safely complete the rest of the journey as we had planned from the beginning. These bloody wings, every single one of them has been absolutely barmy. I think it's a bit unkind of them to ask us to finish the puzzle without all the important pieces. At least at E.G.O, their chief executive director tagged along as our assistant, not to mention they kindly explaining so many new things to us. It sounds like Miss Faust was stuck between a rock and a hard place herself. Some sinners grew more receptive after her explanations, albeit with a sigh. I would have appreciated if you at least gave us a hint. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but it's not like there's someone out there monitoring your every move and every word, right? That is... But not everyone was willing to let go without saying their piece. Next time, I will take your inputs into account. And that's everything I can do for her. It's an undeniable truth that Faust has disappointed the sinners with what she's done. But she's Faust after all. I'm sure she has backup plans to get us out of this situation. So what's next on our agenda? Yeah, what's done is done, right? Besides, it's not like we gotta rot away for thousands of years inside this metal box. That is something I must first discuss with Dante. Discuss? But discussing things with other people is very unlike Faust. What are we discussing, Faust? We must converse in a lower volume, Dante. Why are we whispering? Her secretive attitude only exacerbated my already battered sense of safety. My connection to Gesellschaft, Faust, has been severed. I'm sorry, what? I cannot access Faust knowledge at the moment. I guess I really was right to be anxious. Oh, is that like the source of all her knowledge and how she's so wise and knowledgeable all the time? I guess so. Okay, this will be the first fight. What's the time? 31 minutes. Okay, I guess it's okay. We do one fight, so it's not only a story video. We're gonna enter it. Oh, wait, what? Okay, so... Is this a bug? I'm getting 20% bonus from these. Why? Let me see something. So I'm getting bonus from V-Corp, which kind of makes sense. But the game didn't really tell me about this at all, so I'm surprised. So 20, 30 we should get here. Yeah. And they don't really have to be selected, right? They just have to be on a team. I don't know which will be good identities here, but... I should probably, like, for these, bring stronger ones. I don't know which ones are strong, though. This one's good. This also has a bonus. Yeah, like... Okay, let's go to battle. This is like a chain thing. Like, if somebody dies, somebody else takes their place. What do you mean you can't? I mean, in the most literal sense, my access to forced input information, which has always been readily available, is completely severed. Oh wait, is everything about the situation is something you don't have access to yet, like you said last time? No, one cannot completely dismiss that possibility, but even that is uncertain. Every answer Faust has given me was always full of confidence and methodical expertise. I don't think she ever said a sentence that was this full of speculation and doubt. Then Faust, you are... Yes, at this moment I'm limited to operating only with my knowledge. I cannot discern the cause of this disconnection. More than enough precautions have likely been taken in case of interdimensional travel, but perhaps Faust did not take into account an occasion in which we may have to access unidentified dimensions such as this. Or even if it was taken into account, this particular dimension may not have been subject to cross-observation. If that is not the case, then no, never mind. There was nothing that suggested that my connection to Faust would be lost, not even as we boarded the train. To be honest, this is a rather disagreeable situation for me. Alright for now. Now that changes everything. I recall the last thing I saw before the hatch when the capsule closed, when Faust told me not to worry too much. Okay, this is just a minor setback. Nothing we can beat, right? We got this. I begin to mutter like I was trying to convince myself. As the manager, my job is to calm everyone down and set their sights on the future, just as Faust did for me immediately before the hatch closed. If you're right about why you were disconnected, then that problem will solve itself once we're off the train. And if we do ever run out of options, I'll just turn the clock and see what happens. Don't stress yourself too much, we still have a lot to work with. Your knowledge, my clock, the sinners, and... I could feel my confidence taking a hit with every word that came out of my metaphorical mouth, but that seemed to be enough for Faust, she nodded. Understood. And to the sinners, the fact that we are currently confined to a warp train in operation must be a source of enough stress. I believe that sharing Faust's current state with them would add an unnecessary source of tension. What, so wrecking this door ain't gonna do anything? We're all going to bite it once it opens? So many times I do have to tell you that you're not even strong enough to break this door down. I've been years in this box. Yeah, good idea. So, what now? Do we have to take a searching sweep around each car or something? In the grand scheme of things, yes. Faust cleared the air with a cough before continuing. By Corp's standard time scale, approximately 3 days have passed since our departure. As per contract between Limbus Company and V-Corp, I acquired the master keycard placed inside my capsule and adjusted the hatch settings to open automatically in 3 days. 3 days, huh? I feel like I just blinked, and I guess that's hibernation for you. As you were all informed prior to boarding, there is no way for the economy class passengers to enter the first class car. That is why this place has remained untouched. However, cross-referencing my own deductions and V-Corp's rather fragmentary explanations, I can assume that the situation is currently under progress in the economy class cars. The part where they trash the shit out of one another, tearing their limbs off, all that mess? No, I doubt that. I don't think it got that bad in just 3 days. Besides, that's supposed to be business as usual for V-Corp, right? There must be something else that's out of the ordinary that they wanted us to deal with. Precisely, in my opinion, it is... Oh, hold that thought for but a moment. Just as Faust was about to continue, Don Quixote raised her index finger to her lips and signaled her to be quiet. Thus to hear out as I do. Scratching, nay, rapping, forethought past this gate must be, As Don Quixote kept listening with her ear to the door, an odd expression of half curiosity and half horror appeared on her face. It's possible that there must be, Lady Faust? After the very distressful noise, everyone simultaneously turned their heads to look at Faust, who closed her eyes briefly in thought. Please step aside for a moment, Don Quixote. It will be best if I observe it with my own eyes. With that, she produced the master keycard from her pocket and approached the panel installed next to the door. Whoa, hang on a minute, you're going to open the door? I intend to follow your usual flavor of suggestion, Heathcliff. That there are times in which a physical altercation is preferable to detached ruminations. My suggestion. Well, I ain't gonna disagree with you there, but what's gotten into you, lass? After all, how could I deduce anything without seeing it myself? Bleep. After a brief mechanical bleep, hideous creature suddenly crashed through the open door and charged wildly in our direction. Okay. But how did this all happen in just 3 days? Because of this distortion thing? Maybe. I'll look at them. Craving blood back passenger. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna auto combat here. I'm expecting this to be fairly simple for my group of very strong veteran identities. We got our announcer here commenting on how the fight was going. What do you have to say, Faust? Maybe we read some. Ryushu's like probably one of our strongest, if not the stronger. You have broken your enemy with an effective attack. I must inform you that the machine does not make light use of flattery. Yeah, I know. So these are like the non-focus encounters. You cannot choose who attacks whom. Like you can just change a little bit what abilities they're gonna use. So each one has their top ability, bottom ability, and they also have E.G.O abilities, but these cost resources. So you cannot cast them all right at the start. You need to collect the resources first, and you get resources by actually playing normal abilities. So that's what we're doing right now. But yeah, like the first group got totally destroyed here, and it's pretty easy. So just a warm-up fight. There we go. Victory, nice and sweet. Short and sweet, yeah. Nice and sweet. Lady Foss, however similar in appearance they may have been to the passengers, verily this as though they were in complete want of sense, like people palidified by the whale. Don Quixote hesitated until the last second to raise her weapon against them. She hung her head mournfully. Normally. Faust would have told her more information about these monsters before the fight began, and she would not have been burdened by the sheer thought of bringing harm to the innocent. Faust began searching the area, closely observing various bodies and the general area for information. You appear particularly inquisitive today, Miss Faust. Huh, yeah, aren't you usually the one who has all the answers while we were racking our brains trying to come up with something? The sinners were starting to feel that there's something off about Faust's behavior. They might even soon realize that there's something wrong with Faust. Don Quixote, they're not dead. Huh? Observe closer. The parts are all tethered to one another by something, are they not? Oh, it appears that the flow of time has created in this space. Therefore, it follows that the connections that tether bodies to life and away from that remain intact. To my relief, Faust managed to correctly figure out what's going on like her usual self, even if it took her slightly longer than it usually does. Hey, what I say, we got this. Ah, what was that about? Nothing. But I've forgotten that not all sinners were content with nodding along to what their information told us. The flow of time is seized aboard a warp train, is it? Isang grew pensive, seeing that Faust's lips parted for a moment before closing shut. I was starting to get a good read of her expressions. That was an unmistakable look of regret, however short-lived. How, wait, would it not be more accurate to muse that the flow of time has decelerated to the point where to an extra-dimensional observer it has slowed to a stop? What's your perspective regarding this suggestion? Yes, that is the most rational suggestion, Yisang. Did Miss Foss just get something wrong? Well, Yisang sure is a time expert, right? Can you summarize it in easier language now that we are talking about it anyway? Gladly, if you would allow me. Yisang began to elaborate with gentle enthusiasm. That was close. To speak in brevity, can be said that that is not an element aboard this train. And can you maybe speak in a little less brevity? To elaborate. Verily, that's one heartbeat still. Don Quixote lowers her head and listens closely to what appears to be a dismembered torso and shouts with relief. Their state is akin to an unassembled jigsaw puzzle, merely immobilized and separated. Though their corpus has been sundered, the concept of that is a state of, for all intents and purposes, eternal delay aboard this train, existence in continuance of moratorium. Forced they are to be tethered upon the tiniest yet tenacious thread of life. I understood what hath been said here, yet they are not that all the same, If their severed parts are all connected, then it can be said that no matter how entangled their bodies become, it is not impossible to eventually gather their parts together to form a single passenger. Thus, naturally, we can determine how and why the profession of E.Corp cleanup agent has come to be. I see, because someone will have to categorize and reconstruct these puzzles once the journey is over. It's really baffling to me that a job like that even exists. Ever seen a wing that wasn't baffling in every sense of that word? I misremembered then? I really thought they were just being recloned back. Still, I guess that means that as long as the train arrives at the station, they'll be put back together like nothing happened. From what I learned through the V-Corp identities, their main job was to gather chunks of flesh together to bring them back to their original shapes before they boarded the trains. It's a lot more visceral than when I have to look at it in person. Phew, that's quite the auspicious news among ill tidings indeed. It soon clicked in me what Faust was, though, with some awkward effort trying to do as I watched Don Quixote sigh with relief. Maybe Faust was trying to cheer Don Quixote up in her own way. The other Faust would not find it even necessary to do something like that. Dante, huh? What's up? Oh, time to whisper, right? Indeed, I intend to collect further intelligence. Well, if there's anything I can tell you... Faust cast a dark gaze toward the chunks of flesh. Her gaze remained fixed upon them as she whispered. Are they distortions or abnormalities? Oh, yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about that. They weren't humans, that's for sure. From them, I felt the same sensation I felt from monsters. Some inexplicable, unclear sensation or an aura. I felt this was somewhere before, I'm sure of it, but I couldn't quite pinpoint the source of this sensation. One thing I do know for sure is that this sensation was not the same feeling I got from abnormalities, distortions, or even the Pekatula. If I had to lean one way or another, I'd say they are closer to distortions. I'm sorry, I don't think they're either of those. It's difficult to be certain at the moment. Again, I'm not sure how I can explain this, but they're very, very similar to distortions, but also different. If you had to ask, then I'm gonna guess Faust doesn't know. Faust may know, but I, at this moment, have no way of knowing. I feel like I should apologize for that. There is no need, Dante. Though the information you have provided me is rather ambiguous, it has helped me to do something of worth. And collected intelligence myself and creating deductions based on sparse information is quite... She paused, holding a bloody, slimy chunk of flesh in her hands. Did she just smile to herself with gore in her hands? Oh, finally, the awakening has begun. Okay, well, Risha would like nothing more than Faust to become more like her. Okay, well, I did get the bonus rewards. I'm super confused why that's the case. Oh crap, there's more. You can earn a maximum 120% boost to the amount of event currency earned. So all of these gives 20% extra. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. And if I creep these two, I'll get to 120. So I don't even need these to get the maximum bonus. Would be nice though if I could use like a different Faust, because I don't think this one's really strong, so... Okay. But that's gonna be it for this one. Hopefully enjoyed it. If you did enjoy, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day, do some nice things, be kind to each other, and let's make the world a better place together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Limbus Company, where we're gonna explore this mystery further. TheNeomare signing out. Bye bye.